Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The national anthem and O Canada. America's national anthem and O Canada being sung at the Bruins-Leafs game. I don't think that there's a more cool thing when you get the double. You know, when the Raptors come to town, you get the double anthem. But in hockey, it's like the double anthem is like every other night or every night because you have so many Canadian guys on your team. You got to do it.
We'll have the double anthem here, which is pretty cool. Can't wait.
Double anthem sounds like he gave him the double bird when he did the double anthem, dude.
We're all going to know every word to O Canada.
I can't wait.
Our home and native land.
We stand on guard for thee. All right? Let me see here. Tim LaComb, the coach, is on the program here with us. Coach, we haven't been able to talk to you since the Jazz season's kind of been wrapping, or at least I haven't been able to. How are things, man?
Well, I sure have enjoyed your absence. We were able to get a lot. No, we missed you, and I understand you were. I'd like to actually do a little audit, but it hears you were a lot with the family. I think you're on the golf course at the beach.
Oh,
but I just got my own ideas.
Tim, there may be an investigation underway here at KSL. I'll leave it at that.
What do you need to audit? Like, that's the thing. Hey, I had some paternity leave. They told me I had to take it or it was going to be gone. I said, thank you very much. Boom.
No, I know.
Look, I've got 7 kids.
Yeah, I'm giving you a hard time.
I've got 7 kids. There's never not paternity leave. As soon as I walk out the door, I'm on leave and I'm changing diapers. So, it's a constant thing. I cannot wait to not be changing diapers at some point in my life. All right. Coach, let's talk a little bit about this NBA playoffs. First of all, it's like have the injuries been insane? Is it just me? Like, we've been talking about it. The amount of guys who have been out, and it's not just guys. It's superstars. It's big names. And it's affecting entire series. Some of these series aren't even close. I mean, you have one series in the East that's a 2-2 tie. You have one series in the West that's two games apiece. Other than that, people are getting swept or it's 3-1 and on the verge of getting eliminated.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to watch everybody play all year, and then year in and year out, the playoffs come, and the whole game changes. It's incredible to watch when these guys really are locked in, go that hard every night. But I personally have loved watching it. Even though there have been injuries, there have been sweeps. I think there's been greatness. I love watching Denver do their thing. I really identify with this Knicks team and Jalen Brunson, what he's doing. Just an awesome story. Anthony Edwards, man, he and the Timberwolves have been dynamic. I guess that's probably an understatement. And then you got, Luka Doncic, who's putting up great numbers and only at 25 years old, just a crazy cool future. But when you look at all these guys, there's a lot of youth. There's a lot of youth doing a lot of really good things, bodes well for the future of the game.
And the Thunder as well, sweeping the Pelicans, having so much fun, barking with their sideline guy after the game. That's a fun team and a great story. And those things excite me, Tim, moving in the future of the NBA, is some of these young teams that look like they look really solid and built to last. The future of this game is strong. But then I'm also looking at some other teams that I'm wondering where they're going to go next. I want to start with the Phoenix Suns. If you're the GM in Phoenix, Tim, what are you going to do there? How do you deal with that? A team with no picks for the next 5 years. How do you improve?
Well, I think obviously you've got to swallow the pride a little bit, and you got to move one of those pieces and try to get some options back. Right now they're on the verge of not being able to sign anybody. They, obviously an owner who was hell bent on championship or bust, and I think that is a cautionary tale. I tweeted out the other day just how impressed I've been with this ownership group, the Smiths. Their reliance on basketball people that they trust. And you guys talked about it earlier. There's lots of ways to do it, but Phoenix cut corners. They tried to skip steps. They tried to speed up the process. And I honestly believe, it's like why I love watching a sweep. I love nuance. I like the buildup. I like to watch plays develop. I like guys going and doing their thing. And it's so I think it's just something that everybody sit back and realize, while the Jazz are quote unquote in a rebuild and are struggling, man, the future is amazingly bright. And as you watch some of these teams and where will they go? Well, the Jazz are standing there with a whole lot of collateral. And so this is where perhaps you pick off a piece where someone's desperate. And, they need to move off what they're doing, similar to what the Jazz were doing with Mitchell and Gobert. You kind of stand back now, and I just, every time I think about it, I'm just grateful for the ownership group, for their patience, because it's hard. Ryan Smith's at every game. I do every game. He and his family, unless that dude's out of town, he's right there. So, it's not as though they're skirting this thing. And so I think it's something to watch. But some of these teams, as you said, JJ, getting to the point where they got to make a couple of moves, and perhaps the Jazz are the beneficiary.
The death of the super team has been kind of a theme also in the last couple of seasons, really, in the NBA. But as that happens, of course, it's only because you have other teams that are on the rise. So what is the team that you look at right now and you go, man, I'm jealous of what they got?
I think Denver, to me, is I just watch the way those guys care about each other, and it's so evident the way they share the ball. This Michael Porter Jr. guy, seriously, it's a great story. He couldn't guard a chair his first year. I watched guys go around him, and I thought, this poor guy, it's never going to happen for him. And, Michael Malone, great coach, development, a huge part of the game. Another area the Jazz are so good. They develop their players. We watch guys like Colin Sexton have just this amazing year where he shot the best effective field goal percentage he's ever shot. All this stuff is in the process of that, So it's a fun time. That development piece is really big. But for me, Denver's that kind of that's where you want to be. You want to be at the top of the hill. They won, the championship last year, and they're defending this year. I think Minnesota fought through some adversity, and it's made them stronger. I think guys have swallowed their pride. One team that I could not stand watching was L.A. That brand of basketball, you talk about LeBron's age, but that brand of basketball where you just drive it, throw it up, and draw a foul, and it's gone. You're watching the European influence of spacing, movement, precision, that sort of thing kind of becoming the thing. And, it makes a guy like Dante DiVincenzo relevant on a really big basis because the ball freely moves and everybody, attacks on opportunity.
You talk about Lakers. What should they do? I mean, LeBron is aging, but he's still at the top of his game. Anthony Davis is a $40 million plus player, but not always available. And what do they do to get better? Because what they decide this offseason could shake up the NBA.
Well, I would not allow LeBron to make the moves. I think that's why they're in the situation they're in.
Or hire the coach.
Frankly. Right. He's basically got a talking head in the position, and he kind of has made the moves, roster moves that have gotten them in a pickle. They actually, if you look at it, they were a pretty young, talented team when they won it with Kuzma. And, Kuzma's still putting up great numbers, but the issue was obviously ego, a little bit of ego. And then obviously, you can only pay guys so much, and those two guys dominate so much of the salary cap. So I don't know what you do. I certainly am not a NBA front office, numbers guy, but I would say, like, akin to traffic, I would say they're in heavy traffic in LA on one of those crazy stretches of three-way where, There's no exit. And, I mean, hey, you're going to get there when you get there.
Tim LaComb, the coach, joining us here, JJ and Alex, as we break down not just the NBA season, but the NBA playoffs. Look, I've just been bummed because this is a time of year it is supposed to ramp up. All the guys sitting out extra time and getting their bodies right, this is when they're supposed to all be ready. And we've seen all those a lot of big names, exiting, and then you're going to see their teams exit as well. What has been the biggest surprise story for you this year? I guess maybe throw out the Oklahoma City Thunder. I was looking at the Pelicans the other night. I know that they've had a rough go here in the playoffs, but that's a team that actually surprised me. And Zion Williamson surprised me, and I like that it turned into something for him, and I'm hoping that he can continue it. But what's been a surprise storyline in the NBA this year of some of these teams who are still in the playoffs?
I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks have been a great story. Tibbs is gruff and angry and tough and plays his guys, 40 minutes at a time. But, man, these guys have bought in, and they kind of have that old New York toughness to them. I really enjoy watching them play because Brunson just doesn't take no for an answer. He's a guy who's constantly on attack. But at the same time, so efficient. And, he's averaging in the playoffs right now 33 points a game, and he's still averaging 9 assists to only 2.8 turnovers. So, I mean, I love what's kind of that resurgence because I believe the NBA is better when the Knicks are relevant. I grew up watching those Knicks, Oakley and Mason, John Starks, and it's fun to see those guys kind of back involved in it. And then I think some individual performances. I think just the greatness of Jokic is a huge storyline. He's averaging for the playoffs 28 points, 16.2 rebounds, and 8.8 assists. I mean, or 9.8 assists. I mean, are you kidding me? He's like superhuman. He's like an AI player almost. And then I do think you kind of took my talking point. But I think OKC. I think if you're going to say what is the story of the season, I think their ability and what they did to get the best record, and how dynamic that team looks to be for a long time.
I cannot wait to watch every second of that Timberwolves Nuggets series. It's just that is going to be so great. I'm so fired up for that one.
How good has Rudy been? I mean, Rudy's been terrific,
Hey, Tim, and I want you to expand on that, but I want to bring up that the narrative that Rudy Gobert could not stay on the floor in the playoffs is officially dead. Isn't that funny that, maybe it wasn't Rudy while he was here, huh?
Right. I watched it on a nightly basis, and I think Rudy, here in Utah, being so dominant on the defensive side, I think he created a false sense of security on the perimeter. I unfortunately I still watch this playoff series. I watch Mitchell kind of standing on the defensive end. O'Neal, right now he's starting to get into that part of his life where he can't guard a chair. But what they have around, you talk about Edwards and his physicality. You talk about the length of Anthony Towns. It's a dynamic group. It's a long group. It's an athletic group, and they can handle their own. And I think that's the point. JJ is, Rudy's fine. And the other night he got Booker to pick up his dribble, and made him throw a skip pass. And you can guard him out there all on an island. I think that is officially dead.
Coach, let's chat a little bit about what you're seeing going on down in Provo with the changing of the guard with Mark Pope going obviously to Kentucky, but so far the Kevin Young, last couple of weeks have been pretty impressive as you watch guys who are sticking around. That's as big of a deal when you come in as a head coach as anything else. When you see kind of the first little bit of a guy getting their feet under him and some of these guys staying with the program, what have you been impressed with so far with Kevin Young?
I've been impressed with how he's juggled, what he was going through. It is such a grind, and more so even than I know now with NIL. It is such a grind recruiting, and then to also be trying to get a team through the playoffs. That was a Herculean task, and I know he spent a lot of time using every minute possible to do the things he could. But a lot of good things happened, and you guys mentioned it. I think getting your own guys back that that know the place, that really appreciate the place, that will help fight for the place. I think that's really important. I thought Saunders, getting him back, I think is pivotal. He's one of my favorite guys because he plays, and always has. He plays like his hair's on fire. I mean, he did that in the 9th grade. I walked out of the gym just in awe at how hard he played. So I think they've got a good thing going. They're certainly trying to cast a wider net around the country. In the high school ranks, they're really, really connected in the grassroots ranks already because of Coach Young's brother, Justin, who I've gotten to know a little bit, and crazy impressed with his family and the people that I've met around him. And I think the guys are too. I think it's a breath of fresh air, honestly. I think they really, in a short period of time, could see that this is a trustworthy guy that is credentialed. And he took a big step because he's been in line for head coaching jobs for years, which means he's right on the verge. And he chose to be here. And I think that more than anything, BYU's at its best when you got people there that aren't trying to make BYU something it isn't, but seriously just trying to build upon the legacy. And I think that's kind of what we're back to.
Yeah, we talked to you about a couple of weeks ago about Kevin Young when the hire was first made. You said you didn't know him, you weren't familiar with him, but you were at the press conference when they introduced him, and I don't know if you had a chance to meet him or if you had a chance to talk to everybody you're there to get the reaction, but I was just curious what your impressions were from that moment of being able to be in that same room and what that experience was like for you and a lot of the other former BYU coaches that were there.
Well, it was cool. It's a basketball family. We recruited it that way, and it's so important to me, the relationships, the long-lasting relationships. So much of sport is transactional, and people use you up for what you can bring them a lot of times in sport, and then, what we were about, and I think what BYU is about is this long-term, connection. And one of the cooler things to me is I still get calls weekly from guys that play for me and, just want to shoot the ball or run something by me, or they got a question or a problem. And that's such an honor, and I think being there that night, I just looked around a room with a bunch of people I love, a bunch of people that have fought and clawed for that place. Let's just talk about the environment of sport in the state of Utah right now, shall we? We got both these teams, Utah and BYU, back in the same conference, Power 5 mind you, and it's a Big 12. Utah State has had some really good things going on the basketball court, and it looks to be continuing. We got Utah, basketball, football again in the Big 12, but you talk about professional sports, NHL. My goodness gracious, how cool is that going to be? And then the Jazz. So it's just a great time, friggin' to be alive. It's a great time to be a fan here in Utah. And I can't even remember the question you asked me because I got on a Dick Vitale rant right there.
That's great. Tim LaComb, stream of consciousness. We're always here for that. Yeah, you already answered my question about what it was like to be there when Kevin Young was introduced, because I was watching because it was cool to see you and Dave Rose and all the guys in the room and some of your former players. It was just a cool moment.
It was, and I want to make one other. BYU does everything top notch. But I think Tom Holmoe, Brian Santiago deserve a ton of credit. I think they really rallied there with the NIL, and man, I'm hearing some really great things. I think they're going to perpetually perpetually have money in the basketball program that will just continue to grow. And so they're kind of harvested now for this new age of college basketball. But I think the pivotal piece to me, I was blown away by their president. I've been there, and I had my great relationship with President Samuelson while I was there, and love that dude to death. But I'll tell you what, this guy is a great person, but I just sense that his adoration of sport, he's going to be able to get some things done perhaps that haven't been done down there. I was really impressed by him. Yeah,
President Reese is a real deal. Saw him at the NCAA tournament. He's a fan, and I think that really, really matters for sports down at BYU, that they have the support from the president, and they want to win. No doubt about it.
Bruce Cecil, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always thought it was funny that President Samuelson was when you're a student there and you're watching these games and you're like, this guy's kind of into this. Like you can tell because I was also at BYU when Merrill J. Bateman was there, and you didn't see as intense of the cheering.
He wasn't leading the rock, was he?
Hey, Merrill didn't want to mess up the hair, man. That hair
No, it was on point.
Good point.
It was on point.
He absolutely worked on that. Hey, quick story about Samuelson. We're probably up against him, but I'm going to be quick. Jimmer Fredette got married in Denver, and it was the off season, obviously, and so we filled up the family truckster, and we took the family to the wedding. We took in a couple Rockies games. We kind of made a weekend out of it. The wedding was on the tail end, and as fate would have it, being away, I didn't think I necessarily needed to shave. I mean, who am I going to see in Colorado?
Of course not.
So then, we get to the wedding breakfast or whatever, and I'm in there, and obviously people like coaches and players that I know, they're not judging me or
Sure.
upset that I grew a beard. But I turned around and President Samuelson got me in his sights, and I was like, oh no.
Boy.
And he was walking to me with authority.
And a Mach 3 razor.
Oh, man. Well, he came up and he said, the only thing he said to me, he said, do you know the honor code applies in Denver, too?
Oh, boy.
I said, okay, Prez. And we share a chuckle about that even today.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? Yeah. Hey, I've been sent home from the testing center before. I know what it's like. It's all good.
I know you strike me as a troublemaker.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was the skirt that ended up. My skirt was too short. I couldn't get into the testing center one time either. So there you go. Coach Tim LaComb joining us on the program. Coach, we appreciate it. Love the stories and appreciate your perspective. And we'll chat with you again soon.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Coach.
We mentioned everybody else. I didn't want to not throw out President Worthen's name out there too, because he was huge too.
Are we just going to start listing off former BYU presidents?
Well, I'm just saying the most recent ones. You think of Shane Reese because he's, I think from day one we knew he was a sports guy, but Kevin Worthen was huge too because he hired Keith Vorking, and Keith Vorking's a huge part of what they're doing there. That vice president hire. The person who ends up being Tom Holmoe's boss essentially is a huge, huge piece in that, and they've home run hires so far in that department. So there you go. All right. Plus, it's a group of guys who are like, let's pay these guys a few $1 million. What do you guys think? Anybody? Any objections? We're gonna get looked at weird for this. Yeah, we're not gonna let the contract details get out. Whoops. All right. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Stay with us. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Now, JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ooh, Boston gets on the board now. 1-1 now in Boston. The Bruins, who started off this series pretty slow with Toronto.
Yeah, they split the first two.
Sort of figured some things out.
Well,
and now they're up 3-1.
Austin Matthews has been not himself, which has not helped Toronto. Look at us breaking down the NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
Look at us.
1-1.
Look at us.
Yeah. Got to do it.
You're home for NHL hockey.
Hey, by the way,
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Turned out exactly like I thought last night. The Stars ended up getting even in the series with the Golden Knights.
Is there a sport where home ice field,
whatever
home
you
court advantage matters less than in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
It's almost like they go, look, it's your turn to win this one because we're going to go to 7 games.
Vegas won the 2 games in Dallas.
Right.
Dallas wins the 2 games in Vegas. What are we doing here?
I love it. By the way, yeah, they're showing a commercial of a guy trying to sneak a catfish into the stadium for the Preds game.
Did you see on Sunday the country music star that shotgunned a beer out of the mouth of a catfish?
Yes.
Only in the NHL.
Oh, my goodness. There goes the catfish onto the ice. What are we going to throw? I know we brought this up, but we're landlocked.
Well, we got to know our mascot first, right? So, gross.
Throw some old
Dead
seagulls out there?
Can you imagine how bad that would smell?
Hey, you can't. That's our state bird, brother. You're defiling. You are absolute. That's the amount of disrespect there. Terrible.
So
our state bird in Utah is the California gull, by the way.
There you go.
Just letting people know.
Yeah, can't do that. We can't have dead gulls. So the Utah Grizzlies did fish, which makes a lot of sense. That was pretty cool, actually. But yeah, we got to have something. We got to find out what the mascot is.
And Detroit, it's not like a lot of octopi.
That doesn't make any sense in Detroit, but it's cool, right?
No, it's awesome. I always loved growing up watching those guys coming off the ice with the guys who are cleaning up. They're sweeping up hats. They're picking up octopus. It's amazing. But they just showed a commercial where a guy saran wrapped a catfish to his body to get it in the stadium. And the usher guy who's patting him down on the way in feels that there's a fish obviously on his chest. And he looked at him and he's like, go right on in. Like he let him in with the fish. He let him in with the fish. All right. This is the NFL, by the way, JJ.
We've been breaking down NHL playoffs and talking about catfish over NFL Films music.
No, we just need to know what animal we're throwing on the ice.
This is a record for the longest it's taken us to get to the NFL in the NFL Blitz. So
should we be the first? Should we be the first team that goes vegan on the thing that you throw on the ice?
No.
A bag of Fritos.
You throw that
a head of cauliflower.
You throw that fake meat out down the trash. We use real meat here.
We use real dead fish here.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
No fake fish. No vegan fish. Get out of here.
We just throw a sleeve of Oreos out there. It's vegan. All right. Yes, we're getting to the NFL here. It's the NFL Blitz. My heavens. Here we go.
We got breaking news in the
yes, please
NFL
help me
Blitz.
understand. Hey, Jeremy. We got to go to the Denver Broncos breaking news desk.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
The latest with their blonde quarterback.
Yes, so as you know,
the dude couldn't play dead in the horror movie.
The dude could not play dead in the horror movie. How dare you?
The Denver Broncos selected Bo Nix with the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft, first round. And so Bo Nix likely in their plans, but not a surprise that a few days later, according to ESPN, sources say the Broncos have informed Zach Wilson and his representatives that they will not pick up the fifth-year option in Wilson's contract. So he will be a unrestricted free agent for the 2025 season.
Unless he proves himself.
The option would have been $22.4 million guaranteed.
See, and no matter how well he plays as the backup, there's no version of that.
No.
So, good first contract for Zach Wilson. We'll see if he's going to revive his career starting this year, and then it'll have to also be at another team next year.
It's significant for three reasons. Number one, the Broncos are making no long-term commitment to Zach. Not a surprise. You're bringing him in, and we all know the circumstances.
That dollar amount attached to him was tough.
Is the dollar. Zach's losing $22 million guaranteed money. He's not going to be able to find $22 million out there on the market when he's a free agent. No. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
No.
Three, he's going to be without a contract going into next season. We've talked about this multiple times, and it's brutal. The NFL is brutal. It is not for long. Even a number 2 overall pick can be out of the league in 5 years. He's got to play, and he's got to do something this year to try to earn that deal, because there's no guarantee with all these quarterbacks. You just saw 6 quarterbacks picked in the first round. There's an influx of new quarterbacks coming into the league, and old guys trying to hang on to their jobs. You really start going down the line, and pretty soon there's not any jobs left. And so this is a big, big year for Zach Wilson to go in there in camp and try to fight to get that starting job, even if it's just for this year, to stave off Bo Nix for this year, so that he can prove to the league that it was not him, it was New York, and he can get that deal when he's a free agent. Huge, huge year for Zach. If he doesn't get on the field this year, he's in trouble.
That's the biography name right there, right? It wasn't me, it was New York.
Blame it on the Jets.
Blame it on the Jets. That's also a good one. Look, I mean, you knew. Here's the deal. The Jets, I think, split. Didn't they split some of the salary costs this year, even with the Broncos? So the Broncos
they split it. Yep.
Right. So the Broncos are like You already knew where they were at money-wise, where they're like, we're not going to make very much of a commitment to this kid money-wise.
They don't have any money.
Right.
Russell Wilson took it to Pittsburgh.
You boy.
Let's ride.
Okay, next up on the old NFL roundup, there's some breaking news there. I've got a couple things I want to roll out here. The highest paid players at each position. You ready for this? Oh my goodness, where'd it go? There we are. All right. So I was looking at this list and I said I'm going to roll through here, JJ. You tell me if that's the best. I'm going to give you the highest paid person at that position, and then and then you tell me if they're the best at their position. Okay. I'm just going to I'm not going to do the guaranteed money. I'll just go by the average per year. Okay. Highest average per year at quarterback, Joe Burrow.
No.
$62.9 million, by the way.
He's close. He's top. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes, fifth
I'm not
on the
saying
list.
Joe Burrow isn't good. You just asked me, who is he the best?
Is he the best?
Patrick Mahomes is.
Okay.
But Joe's top 5 for sure.
All right. Running back, Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
I think so, too.
Is the stats prove he was the leading rusher in the NFL last year.
All right. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown.
No.
It's close, but no.
Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in the NFL.
And he's fifth on the list. Now,
Yep.
A.J. Brown, by the way, $32 million next season on his contract. Tight end, highest paid. We talked about this yesterday. Travis Kelce, best in the game?
Yes.
All right. Offensive tackle, highest paid at $28 million per. Penei Sewell, best in the game?
He is.
I think so, too. Guard, Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons. Best in the game? Sure.
Why not? He plays guard.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the best guard in the league.
Now, center, this is a guy who we kind of Frank Ragnow. $14 million a year.
Now that Kelce has retired, I would say yes.
Okay.
You remember Ragnow was involved in that was it Thanksgiving Day
Yes,
deal
it
with
was.
the Cowboys? Yeah,
It was.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he's really, really good.
Who checked in, who didn't?
Yeah.
Right. Cornerback, highest paid. Jair Alexander, the
No.
Green Bay Packers. No, I don't think so either. Although I will say the second highest paid, Jalen Ramsey. He's still getting paid, man. Still getting
Sauce
tons of money.
Gardner, Patrick Surtain, I would put those all ahead.
Okay, me too. Not in the top 5, by the way, those guys. All right. Let me see here. Safety, Derwin James Jr.
He's pretty darn good.
Yeah, but I still think Minkah Fitzpatrick would be the guy who would still command more money. But he's number 2, so I'm not going to. But there you go.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
okay with
All
that.
right.
I mean,
All right.
Jesse Bates is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Poyer's moved on. Fitzpatrick's pretty darn good.
Here's a fun one. Edge rusher.
I'd say Minka's number 1, so I'd say
Yeah.
no. But Derwin James is probably in
He's
top 3.
close. Edge rusher, Nick Bosa.
Oh boy, Nick. See, this is where it gets tough.
Yeah, really weird.
Myles Garrett is the best edge rusher.
TJ Watt's right there.
TJ Watt is in the conversation, but Myles Garrett for me is the best, and he makes $20 million less than Bosa.
Yeah.
Bosa's not even
problem.
top 3 for me.
Okay.
Brian Burns just got paid, by the way, by the
he did.
Giants. He's in the mix as well.
Defensive tackle, Chris Jones. Now, Aaron Donald announced his retirement. He's on the list on this, but
Derek Brown is pretty darn good too. Now that Donald has retired, I will say Chris Jones is the best DT.
Okay, there you go. Off-ball linebacker, Roquan Smith.
Nope, it's Fred Warner.
He's second. He's only off by $500,000, by the way.
You can live with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay. Kicker, Justin Tucker at 6.2 per.
Justin Tucker's the greatest kicker of all time.
All right. Justin Tucker also thinks that.
I know. Hey, shout out to Matt Gay, who's making $5.9 million with the Colts.
Hey,
this year.
second on the list.
And he's top 3 for sure.
He's top, and Matt Gay tied for second in that category and for total guaranteed money for a kicker as well. Luke Rhodes, long snapper. The answer is yes. Just fine. Move on.
You really agree? Is he going to ask me about the long snapper? I guess they were officially done.
That's
now.
true. All right, punter.
Mitch Wishnowski's the best punter in the league.
I think so too, but Michael Dickinson of my
outta
Seattle
here.
Seahawks is $4 million per.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Not even in the top 3. Mitch Wishnowsky. So
that's a travesty.
I know. All right. By the way, going to remind you, stop by and say hi to Hans and Scotty. They're going to be noon to 3 at Spa Trouvé on Thursday in Saratoga Springs. Spa Trouvé located 1022 North Redwood Road. Grab a sandwich from Granados and find out more about the specials that they're having for Mother's Day at Spa Trouvé. Okay, we'll take the break. We'll come back. Best and worst next. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
We got Sports Zone traffic trooper letting us know about a couple of problems this afternoon. First of all, it looks like they say a motorcyclist is down.
Calm. Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. JJ, I sent him off to do a little bit of some extra TV work. I sent him off. He has to do this every day, right? So this is part of the deal. For an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, visit Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. Hey, Doug. Let me see. Best of the... I thought that was a classy move by you, Jeremy. Initially,
what is that?
Initially, you just had put best was the Lakers are out of the playoffs. I thought that was a little bit rude.
Too easy.
This is the Lakers suck yesterday. They suck again today.
Suck it up and take the loss.
Come on, head down to Galveston. That's what Chuck kept calling it. Head down to Galveston. You don't even deserve Cancun. Go to that.
About Kima, the boardwalk right down the street from Galveston.
None of it's that good. Man, yeah, we did Thanksgiving a couple of years at Galveston, and we did like a horse ride, like a horseback ride down the beach. And you're looking at the beach, and you're like, this is not as pretty as I think the brochure made it out to be. And I also forgot like normal shoes on that trip. So what happened? I know. And back then it wasn't like, oh, just go buy a pair of shoes. My dad's like, what did you bring? I was like, these moccasins. Because we got up, we left early. So I didn't pack my shoes with me. I just had moccasins. I had these slip on so I'm on a horse. I'm wearing a jacket. And then I was a chubby 14-year-old. I had some really short, like Umbro shorts on and some moccasins. We still have the pictures to prove it. It's disgusting. But I also went to Galveston. That's what I imagine LeBron's going to be doing with his vacation. But no, best of the day is the Knicks fans celebrating outside Wells Fargo Center, where, of course, that's Philadelphia. That's their home. That's their home court.
Not really.
Hasn't been. But they put a jersey on the Wilt Chamberlain statue after they won in Philly. You know what? Here's what I love about this. This is a Philadelphia move. They would do this to everybody else. New York giving Philadelphia a little bit of a run for its money for dirtbag fans. I like it. Come on, Philly.
It's amazing.
Step your game up.
90-minute train ride to go to Philly from New York? Why not? Cheaper tickets? Take over.
Instead of going to
the Garden, yeah.
The Garden, absolutely. Man. Worst of the day.
You're welcome.
I know. The Astros have optioned their former AL MVP to the Florida Complex League. By the way, the Florida Complex League for Jose Abreu, that's him going out to pasture, right?
They didn't even want him to go to Sugar Land, which is 40 minutes away. It's like, we're sending you way over there for extended
He's
spring
not even
training.
hitting 100. He's not even hitting 100. He's not even getting a hit 1 in every 10 at-bats. Jose Abreu, we hardly knew ye. Congrats. Florida's nice this time of year. Actually, it's not. It's never nice. I mean, it is, but it's
better
not
than
nice.
Galveston. So
it is better than Galveston. I agree. All right. Take the break here. Jeremy, that about does it for this hour, right?
It does, yes.
Sure. All right. Let's take the break. We'll come back. We got more to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Take the zone with you wherever you go. Download the KS